Before I came to USM, I taught at University of California School, and all of my students were 17 to 21. They were all traditional age students. And I would often, in an Intro to Women and Gender Studies class, I would hear from them comments like, you know, feminism was relevant for my mom's generation, but it's not relevant for me. I mean, those problems, they're not my problem. My generation doesn't have those problems. And I would always feel like the voice of doom and gloom. I'd say, well, you know, actually when you graduate, there is still discrimination in the workplace, and oh yeah, you know, women still do a lot more of the housework than men. When I came to USM, it was a great relief to have in the classroom this mix of traditional age students and older students, sometimes only just a little bit older. And so when one student who was traditional age college student would say, these are not going to be my issues, my mother's generation solved those problems. A student who was 25 maybe would say, you know, I thought that too. And then my husband left and I'm supporting the 2 kids and I'm trying to get a job that pays, and there aren't any jobs for women that pay enough to support 2 kids on. And then the job that I'm in, my boss is just, you know, sexually harassing me up one side, down the other. And so they could share the wisdom with each other that these problems haven't entirely disappeared. And also learn from each other about the importance of solidarity. And they were, you know, they're great teachers for each other. So I think the Women in Gender Studies classroom in the 21st century is still absolutely relevant. And what's interesting to me about it now is it's not just a women's studies classroom. It's not just young women sitting around talking about sexist oppression, but the classes that I teach have large numbers of men in them as well, and talking about the challenges that men face, the expectations about the perfect body for men, which are pretty intense these days. Or trans students, what's it mean when you don't feel comfortably positioned as either a man or a woman? So the Women's Studies classroom in the 21st century is just fascinating and fabulously rich and complex. I love teaching the sociology of the body. It's a class I've taught for over a decade now, and in it we explore all the social meanings that are written on the body, like why is it such a huge violation for a woman to have blonde fuzzy hair on her upper lip? I mean, why is that something that would make me such a target in the world? Why is it that having darker skin color rather than lighter skin color defines your characteristics and your personality in the world? Why do people think they know something about you when they know what ethnicity or race you are? Why are people who are fat treated in ways that assume character flaw, and people who are thin are seen as somehow virtuous? Why is it that we have certain expectations for people of different ages? All of those sorts of social issues I think are really interesting, and so I love teaching social of the body. I think students at USM would be shortchanging themselves not to take a Women in Gender Studies class. We have the best faculty on campus from all across the campus, every department practically. Our classes are small, they're active learning centers, they're not lecture classes. We have deep connections with the community, so students do fascinating internships in the community. You get to work one-on-one with really extraordinary scholars, people who are at the top of their fields nationally and internationally. It's just an excellent educational experience. Not to mention that Women in Gender Studies is a sort of fun community of scholars and students who come together and create knowledge together.